Tony, you and Mike were poring over the advanced metrics. What were the final stats on Greg Cody yesterday in terms of production, number of carries, number of targets? What can we say is the final stat total on Greg Cody?
So before I give the final stat line, we did talk about it here in the analytics department that when we scripted our first 15, he was great. Right, like we had the right blocking assignments. The offensive line did their job. The quarterback called the right place. Called the mic out. Greg was able to understand where his blocking assignment was and hit the gap and hit it hard. After those first 15, we kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, they stacked the box and
brought the safeties down.
Honestly, you should have utilized him better in the play action game, and you didn't do that. You let him down.
Yeah.
He softened up the defense for you. You did nothing with
I
it.
do appreciate that you guys are really getting into the press conference explanations on this, and you're right. I will accept the criticism. I should have used him better. Any failures of Greg Cody are my failures and my failures alone.
I like that.
But the thing that I had asked you was I asked for a number of carries we had yesterday and just some general advanced statistics.
Yeah, 22 for 78.
Okay,
so,
see, that's not bad.
Not great.
64 in the first half.
We said we were going to stay committed to the run game.
Yeah, and 22 carries when they stacked the box. 10 of those carries came when they stacked the box.
Do you feel like we're going to do better or worse today? Because he's come in today and said he's proclaimed himself a fire starter. He wants the nickname as a running back of fire starter, which is a good nickname. We would agree that any running back in the league would like if a running back, if we started calling Achane fire starter and got it off the ground, Achane would love to be called fire starter.
In Greg's case, I think it's appropriate because he was amongst the first to discover fire.
Yeah, I like that. I want to adopt that as my official nickname, by the way. I want people to start calling me FS, fire. Fire starter's a little unwieldy. But in terms of the carries and the yards, I'm more concerned with carries than yards. It's a Cesar Tovar theory.
That's a baseball player. That's not a running back. Okay, listen to his. All right, he's been doing this to me for 40 years.
Stuffed at the line.
40 years. Do you guys, Tony? Do you know what he's referencing? Does anyone there? Does his son know what he's referencing when he says it's a Cesar Tovar reference?
I've heard it. It's the guy batting average. Go on.
Did you just drop a fire starter sound effect?
No.
Oh, I like that.
Tony, do you know what he is saying when he is saying Cesar Tovar?
I have no idea.
Roy?
No.
Mike?
I think I've heard it on this show before, and it was a guy that was like boom or bust.
Well, Cesar Tovar was a former Minnesota Twin. He may have played for other teams, but I'm thinking 60s and 70s. And he was notable because he once had over 700 at-bats in a season. He was a guy who was just prolific, and I like the idea of a lot of at-bats. You give me 700 at-bats, it doesn't really matter whether I'm hitting 241.
Matters a little bit.
Or 278. No, because the at-bats, akin to carries by a running back. I'm the kind of guy who would like 31 carries, and doesn't particularly matter if it's only for 68 yards, because I'm putting in the work. I'm doing the lifting.
You also did have a fumble here I didn't know. Obviously, the Packers versus Steelers situation was a fumble. We were in the red zone there. Right. We were getting really close to coming home, and you did fumble.
But I recovered my own fumble, didn't I?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I did.
I'm afraid we've started 3 and out, and you know what that means, Greg?
What's that?
Punt.
Nice. I like that. Cesar Tovar, not even on my catchphrase countdown.
Cesar Tovar, can you guys give me his career average, please? I'd like to now go through. Thank you, Zaslow. What do you have?
278 career average.
Solid.
So you're saying that you're going to take 10 swings on jokes, and if you fail 7 or 8 times, you're good with it?
Yeah. If I get 2 or 3 out of 10, I've succeeded.
Did you yesterday?
Hall of Fame material. I think so. You just heard that from the statisticians.
Yeah. Did he succeed or fail yesterday? Did we win yesterday?
I think we won despite Greg Cody.
Okay.
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip ball. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a 3 or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post. or a killer cross you love the most? When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
Professional basketball may indeed stink, but I'm finally ready to do it. I'm here to announce it. Jokic is a better offensive player than Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Brave.
Yeah. I'm sorry it took me a long time to get here. I am now here. Everyone should capitulate. There has never been a better offensive player than that loaf of bread. And you're not comfortable with it because you want it to be a wing guy and you want it to be somebody who soars through the air. And I'm sorry that this guy ruined basketball for you, but he's better as an offensive player than any that the sport has ever seen.
Okay, so if I asked you, you have one game, Michael Jordan, Nikola Jokic. You're taking Jokic?
That's not what I said.
Oh, but I'm asking a different question.
Good question.
But it's not what I said. I said he's the best offensive player I have ever seen. I could give you all of the numbers and metrics of how champion the Nuggets are when he plays, offensively and defensively, because he's also good defensively. He clogs everything up. They're not the same thing defensively. But I don't want to start there.
You just did.
Dan, I was willing to follow you into the breach. You're my captain. I'm going to follow you into the breach, even if it's just me and you.
There are a number of things that I wish to get to today, and I want to put that over to the side for the moment, because I do think it's one of the worthy things to talk about in basketball when everyone is shitting on that sport. The excellence is unprecedented at the top of what these people are doing. Like, you can take the MVP from that guy if you like, but there's never been a better offensive player. And you can argue on behalf of Michael Jordan, and you can say one game, all the players that ever played, but we're watching one right now who's
You could argue for Michael Jordan being a good basketball player.
You
Yes,
could.
you can.
But you can make the argument on the other side, and it'll be hair splitting. Like, whatever it is you're doing to reduce my Jokic argument, you're doing it by this margin. We are watching genuine mastery in basketball, but everybody's mad at basketball for an assortment of very good reasons. But we've got the fire starter in our midst. We've got Cody has what he believes to be the 5 best sounds of the week when we have done a lot of careening into ditches this week. And I want to get some votes from you guys, but I also want to have the serious conversation. Everybody's asking me about Diana Rossini, wanting me to say something about Diana Rossini, and I'm like really uncomfortable with all of this and sort of the dirtiness of what my profession has become, where every time I'm talking about where it is that Schefter and Shams are compromised, nobody cares, but then they do this thing that's in public that I don't want to give air.
You know why they do it, though?
But I don't want to give it air because I haven't talked to my friend, and I'd like to talk to my friend, not text my friend. I'd like to see how she's doing, because this seems deeply unpleasant no matter who you are, true or not true. It's like, ew, this is a foul thing to go to, as hard as that person has worked for her credibility and that pit of sewage she works in. To have this happen to her doesn't feel good, but I don't know anything. And I don't want to gossip, and I don't want to bother her. I just like to know how she's doing, because this seems awful. Like, it was so hard for her to come by her credibility, and now we're going to do this shit? So I don't want to give it oxygen, but everybody wants to talk about it. And so I ask you guys genuinely, what to do in the modern age. And I had this conflict 20 years ago with Deadspin of all things. Deadspin came over to threaten newspapers, and it did so with gossip and things that people wanted, and the internet became popular, and the manosphere, and everything that's happening with podcasts, because the rules are different over here. You don't have to apply a journalistic standard. It doesn't matter what you say. If you want to gossip in the sewage, you can do that, and you can get listeners and viewers, and it's the currency of the day, and newspaper dies, and so do those standards. When this thing happens, you're expected to talk about it because everybody's a gossip. And I've got somebody in the middle of this that I can sound like I'm white horsing on, or this is too close a friend for me not to be biased on it. But I just feel for a human being in the middle of something like this, because it's like, you're going after her and not him, huh? That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, that's super interesting. Do you know how hard it was to come by the credibility that she has as a person who has relationships in that sport? Because you have to have relationships.
Right.
You will fail at that job because 7 people can do it, and they know all the other people who trust them, who believe in them. And so they walk the line between friendship and conflict of interest. And how do you get your information? So I ask you guys sincerely as I'm rambling here, because I'm troubled by this and I don't know how to address it while being fair and just human. What do you do? What am I supposed to do? Because easier was to ignore it here and just see and try to see how she's doing, because this seems unpleasant. It seems like a really unpleasant thing to go through, especially if it's untrue.
Yeah.
And it's not journalism.
No, it's grainy photographs that are innuendo without substance. And I think at this point, I just give not that there's any doubt in my mind, or not much at all. But
no, see, I don't want to do that, though. I don't want to do that. Like that.
What?
Yeah, that was a good job asking for help and shutting them down.
It's
what I'm saying is,
you don't know what you want to do, and then someone offers something to do, and cut them off at the pass. This is good work.
Because of how he's doubting. He's sitting here, what he believes and what he doesn't believe.
We haven't, in fairness to Greg, we didn't let him say what he wanted to say, and I think part of what he wants to say is something that you omitted, which is a very strong denial.
Right.
From The Athletic, from Diana, from Mike Vrabel.
And from Vrabel's incriminated here as well, and he's had to respond
but
to
nobody
all this.
cares about that part, man. It's
Okay.
always about the women.
But that's the problem. But a headline I read noted salaciously that they're both married, as if that proves anything. When I say benefit of doubt, I have no doubt, but maybe some people do. I believe Diana Rossini's strong denial, and I believe Mike Vrabel's until there's any proof otherwise, because the proof was not in any of those photographs.
But I'm asking you, what am I supposed to do? That doesn't help. That just allows us to talk about it.
I think what you did is fine. Now, speaking for the audience here a little bit, like when I talk about where Shams and Schefter are compromised, nobody cares. Well, Dan Le Batard cares. That's why he's talking about those things. And you are showing a human side here by saying, well, I don't care that much to have that conversation here because I have a conflict here. That's human. That there's going to be people in the audience that call us out for our hypocrisies. And I'd say humans are allowed some. And I think you laid the cards out on the table why this one's uncomfortable. I think this one has a pretty strong denial attached to it. I side with Greg here. Like, I want to see more if there is more. Actually, I don't want to see more. All of this is really, really icky, and the denials are strong. The Athletic really came to bat for Diana in ways that we don't typically see.
I don't think it has to be labeled as an hypocrisy and I've seen the same comments from listeners too, where, oh, Dan's hypocritical, the show's hypocritical. Why won't they'll talk about this, but they won't talk about Diana here? I don't know, it's okay to be a good friend. It's okay to support your friend. And I don't understand why people wouldn't understand that part of it where, okay, she's a friend and we want to support her. And the way that, we're choosing, not that we've had this conversation, but the way that we're choosing to support her is by not getting involved in this and lending more comment to this situation. She's a friend. So wouldn't everybody want to stand up for their friend?
No, but this one's...
And I mean by standing up, I mean not talking about it. That to me is standing up.
But there's some cowardice in that, and especially given what it is that we do.
Can we establish some ground rules where people are trying to answer your question what you should do? You shouldn't just dismiss them with saying no.
Okay, you can establish those ground rules, but you guys are talking about something as if you're not understanding the journalism at the core of it. No. When our friends or people we cover in sports become news, that's different journalistically than it's been for a really long time. The reporter is not the news. We've distorted all of this. The reporter's never the news. Just because what Stephen A. Smith now is, what he's turned this into with ego and flatulence and everything else, like over here, he's still a journalist. He's still yelling at Matt Barnes, pothead, you're an influencer. I'm a journalist. I have standards. I have standards. I have friendships and relationships throughout the business, but I'm uncompromised. I'm objective. I know what my biases are, or I try to be objective about things and people and truth and news when we're talking about this stuff. So the reason I'm knocking you down on no is because this woman is at the height of sports journalism. She got there the right and the hardest way, fighting the other information people to get to the top of information that is credible, that like is rock solid reported, stronger than the opinion maker. She's not an opinion maker. She's a journalist. And she has good relationships in the business. And I sound here like I'm simply blindly and emotionally defending and riding for a friend. I don't know what the hell happened here, but this is a journalist who came by her credibility honestly, the hardest way, and harder than all the other people that have to do this stuff of getting and fighting for the information, who don't have to deal with this shit. This would not happen to Shams. This would not happen to Woj. This would not happen to any of these people. And so, she doesn't want to be at the center of this. She doesn't want any part. This is not why she got into this business.
One note, when you say like the news people don't typically become the news, there is a head coach of a conference champion here that's involved that might be playing into why this is also new.
But this isn't a story if it was Mike Vrabel with some random woman that we don't know. It's about her, man.
It's
about
also,
women.
And it's also just gossip. It's also just gossip.
She's been gossiped about before. There's also like a weird New York Post athletic thing going on here too.
So I appreciate, that you're trying to talk me down on my tone, because I know where I can be strident here, and I don't know where my blind spots are here. I really don't, because I came up in a man's business too. It's people like Diana who taught me, God almighty, we made this a lot harder than it had to be for women, because there were so few of them around. And because, look, even after all this, our progressive woke machine, look, all dudes in the room, all dudes talking about this, because still we fail here in a million ways. And I know my tone's bad. And I know that nobody wants to hear this message, but what do I do when I'm simply emotional about, I can't reach somebody who's got to be under it? I'd like to talk to her before talking about this, and there's pressure from every angle to, you fucking fraud. You don't talk about the real things. Look at how you protect others when now you're attacking that journalistic thing that I care about, where it's like, no, what's responsible here? What's right? Is there a clear answer? Because I don't think there is. And I don't think silence is it. I don't want to give oxygen to it. Man, I don't want to go give oxygen to that bullshit going on between Whitlock and Stephen A. And I could drive it for clicks all day. All day I could sit here and talk about all the shit that happened between those two friends of mine. But they were trying to do something journalistically objective once upon a time, and then this business distorted all of us. Turned us into fucking preening peacocks. We are the news. We are the newsmakers. We opine on the news, and when you don't talk about your friend, you're a fraud. Okay. But no, when I ask you guys, do you understand what I'm in here when I'm saying, how do I do this right? But fair by her standards, when I can't talk to her, because I don't know what she's under.
Well, then you continue to criticize the gotcha journalism of this tabloid whose sole effort here is to destroy lives. You can do that.
And you can reach out to her. It's probably not the way that you want to. I've reached out to Diana to offer the support.
I don't want to do the text thing. See, this is another thing, though, okay? And this is about communicating in the modern age. My wife's father just died, and everybody's texting. That's nice. But they're texts. I'd like to talk to somebody. I'd like to see if somebody's okay. I could check in by text. That's how we're communicating now.
Yeah, I think the text is kind of feeling it out a little bit. I understand what you're saying.
You don't think she's got a lot of that right now?
I think it's respectfully, It's a bit of a boomer thing to be like, well, just the text? Where's the call? Where's the letter? It sounds like, where's the telegram? A little bit. Like people text to kind of see how people are doing. If they're receptive to it, then a conversation can spark from there. It's just testing the waters.
I think the text right now to Diana is conveying, hey, I know you're under it right now. You've got 1 million texts. Everybody's reaching out. I'm sorry for what you're going through. Just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you, support you, believe you, and that's it. I'm surprised by your combative tone on all this, Dan, because I don't think any of us disagree. I think the reputation Diana Rossini has well earned is a reason for benefit of doubt. And the only reason I even use the phrase benefit of doubt is that a lot of people out there infer what they see from those photos as guilt. I don't. I have relationships with female friends. We hug each other. She's allowed to have Mike Vrabel as a friend beyond their professional relationship.
There is also moralizing attached to it because of what's being discussed. And I think, like, true or untrue, a message of support for Diana Rossini should not be a controversial one, especially when you attach.
That's pretty much what I'm saying.
That
like,
I think know the person.
I think it's okay to blindly support a friend. I do. That's really where I come from. I think it's okay to blindly support someone who's a friend.
Didn't like Ashton Kutcher do that with his with?
No,
when they're not accused of rape.
No,
I'll set that aside.
No, Danny Masterson.
That I think there is a distinction.
No.
Yes, and I don't like what Ashton Kutcher
You shouldn't have
did.
said blindly. I didn't think you'd go for DJ Mom jeans, but he went there.
I mean, but blindly is where.
No, you know what he says.
I feel like it's implied.
Worse. You're the fire starter. He can't be the fire starter because you've been the fire starter for 20 years.
The tone is shitty, undisputable. Cannot argue it. The thing I'm asking you, all bad tone and all, cutting you off and all, is the very serious question. With everything you see happening in America and all around the globe, fairness. Like wanting something to be fair, fighting for something to be fair, to have a standard, to have a journalistic standard of you talk about this when you know what you are talking about, when you have facts, reported details, when you are aspiring to objectivity, the times and when you talk about this, not on radio, podcast, ESPN, the printed standard of how do you do this fairly. Does it matter? Because I ask you guys sincerely, I did not want to talk about this. Greg, it's the thing that Greg was interested in today, and he thought it would be interesting. I didn't even know about that I was being criticized by anybody. It's the thing Greg found interesting, and I'm conflicted with. Well, what do I do with this? It's just a cheap thing to talk about. Like it's a cheap thing to do because people want you to talk about it. And so when I ask you, what's fair?
I think it's fair. In this case, Diana Rossini is a frequent guest on this show. If you believe her denial about this controversy as much as I do, I think it's fair simply to say we support her. We believe her. And 2 months from now, if we're proven wrong, that'll be regrettable, not for us, but for the parties involved. But right now, all benefit of doubt to Diana Rossini because she has earned it. She's earned the respect. She's earned her reputation.
The employer knows her, and that's why the employer's statement was as strong as it was.
I mean, we've seen things like this in the past, though. That's about as strong a statement in
defense. But they know her. They know what she's about. They work with her every day. They know what she does there and how hard the specifics of that job is. I'm sorry. Enough on that. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about after we killed all of the local teams and now. Yeah, no, it's terrible. What's happening right now is terrible in that Zaz is now the guy who just complains about the league. He loves this league. He loves this league, and right now Zaz is kind of broken.
I don't like what it's done to me.
Oh, because the conversation around this league is around all the dirty things money has done to the sport the last 15 years where you're like, oh, wait a minute, none of these games are going to be close. What just happened to this league?
I don't like what it's done to me because – oh, my God, it used to be my favorite. God, I loved the NBA. And I miss feeling that way about the NBA. But everywhere you turn, it could be radio, it can be television. We're a week away from the playoffs starting, and all of the discourse around this league is just rotten.
Not all of it in the places where people still care about that Hawks-Knicks game. Like there are two different generations and things happening here. People who really love basketball, because you're not going to convince Tony there that watching Jokic every night isn't a pleasure that he doesn't appreciate.
And we don't even have to look at like the mountaintop of the NBA, which is Jokic and Wemby and SGA right now. Like you're talking about the Hawks, who've had a bunch of
But
great
that's not
games
the big story in the league.
I hear you. Okay,
it should be, but it's not.
I agree. The problem is, in 3 games, we'll start talking about the NBA playoffs, and everything will be.
You're right.
fine.
No, you're
Everything
right.
will be fine. We'll have great games. All the bad teams are going to be done.
We hope that we'll have great games, which is why I think it's an important playoff for this league in this moment of time. Cultivate new stars, have highly competitive series. Let's stay away from the national TV windows being blowouts, because what Zaz is saying is not a controversial opinion, and I don't think we do this as much as other shows out there, because that is the narrative around the NBA. And we have Amin on our show, and Amin defends the NBA at every turn and its merits and why we are where we're at.
Because the greatness in the NBA is all-time great, where you're watching real excellence and we're not appreciating it, because what's happened over the last 15 years is the narrative has been distorted by the way we cover this league. It's gotten worse and worse. It's not just Barkley and Shaq complaining about everything, complaining about all the threes and everyone else. It's everyone talking about the garbage, how the games are bad, and how 10 of the teams aren't trying.
I could offer up a lukewarm take that collective mastery of a sport isn't great for a sport. Maybe it's fine in individual sports, but when every team has the sport down to a science and has tried to expose every single mathematical
edge, all play the same.
Then you become baseball. And baseball realized, okay, when we invented this game, we didn't account for the loopholes that math might provide. And that's where the NBA has found itself in. And hopefully, like all the other major sports seemingly, they will listen to overwhelming fan feedback. They are at that impasse. But to Tony's point, it's a pretty gnarly postseason that we have set up here, with a lot of great storylines, with a league in transition, desperate for new stars, and I think those guys are ready to deliver.
There's going to be a tipping point at some point like there was for baseball, hopefully with Adam Silver, if he's not a nothing. Well, he'll look around and say, all right, baseball did it, NFL did it, we got to do it too. And there's going to be a moment where that math is not going to math anymore. We got to turn the tide.
No, but I just, look, man, this part's a bummer. Like, this is the best time of year in basketball. Tony is right. The playoffs will erase some of this. Some of these people will be amazing. The stakes will get really high. You'll care about what the Knicks are doing. But what you guys are doing in reflecting our show and our market is, oh, the Heat stink and now Zaz is out. The Heat don't have a real chance, and so Zaz isn't going to be interested in all of the other good teams. Because, look, it hurts to watch Boston kick your ass because they got better at the threes than anybody. I don't want to watch that. This stinks.
Oh, that was a huge part of it for me. But I am receptive to what Amin says. And it is a fair criticism that it's awfully convenient for me to bail on the NBA when my team is no longer relevant.
I'll be locked into the playoffs for sure, but the part that bums me out is the other sports are not like this. Our other major sports in this country are not like this, where just I find that the majority of the discourse, you put on any TV show or any radio station right now, and for the most part, if they're talking NBA, they're talking about 2 things. They're talking about tanking, and they're talking about 65-game rule. Those are the stories, and that shit is rotten.
But it's real. It's not illegitimate. I mean, if you have a great NBA playoffs, it allows you to forget for a month that there is this overarching problem in the NBA. Other major sports don't have the tanking problem that the NBA blatantly does.
You say they don't, but there are a lot of bad baseball teams, and baseball can change some of this. You guys are seeing what's happening, right? Like, it's not been unclear to you that over the last 15 years of sports reflecting everything in our market and in America, in 2026, the Black League feels like this before the playoffs, and hockey does not. But you guys don't have the Panthers this year, and you will not be as interested in the playoffs.
Oh, I will definitely be.
You will not be as interested in the – you will be. I've seen this burn out of him. Like, he loves the Panthers. I do not believe he'll be watching the late games out west because his team's not in it.
I hear you, and I'm not going to dismiss that some of the criticisms of the NBA when it comes to spoiled athletes not paying. Like, yeah, there is a racial aspect to that too, but it was a decade of baseball discourse. A decade. And that's old and white when it comes to that's as old and white a sport, major sport as there is.
And the NHL does not have anything close to a tanking problem if you're going to compare those two sports. And look at what the Panthers this year, for most of the season at least, they had a winning record or close to it, and they're in last place in their division.
You guys don't find this funny, though? Like, I'm not even saying you're wrong. Yes, that's how it's played out. Yep. Absolutely. The basketball guys get hurt. They get assigned lazy, don't care enough, load management. That's not the hockey guys. The hockey guys would never do it that way. That's correct. That's how that happened.
It's a cultural thing. It's not we've had this discussion, and sometimes it veers into race. I don't know, dude. There's a lot of Europeans. There's a lot of Canadians. Hockey players are just different. It's a different culture around the sport. And by the way, that culture is perpetuated top down. If hockey all of a sudden in the front offices wanted players to rest up the way that NBA front offices do, you might see that more. But culturally, it's just a different thing.
But when you say that basketball is becoming baseball, when we talk about the macro of this, like you guys have been marveling, I'm sure, right? Yesterday we were talking about this. Francisco Lindor uses a glove in batting practice. Machine is shooting the ball at him the way it would come off a bat at 100 miles an hour. The glove, it's 2 inches shorter than a normal glove. He's got to get better. Francisco Lindor. That's the science of what we're doing. Basketball has been distorted because all of these people and athletes have bent the limits of science on the bodies to we can defend this much, we can defend this much, all the way out to here. Ligaments are going to break. These people are 7'7". This is crazy. And here, 53s beat you. 53s, if you make 30 of them, beat you. And if you miss 40 of them, you're probably going to lose. And look, the Celtics figured out, wait a minute, this isn't that fun to watch. Oh, it's interesting. They're winning. It's a spaceship that shoots from everywhere. And it's going to get assigned to, they improve the culture. But they'll shoot 53s and they'll make more than you. And that's how they'll beat or won't beat OKC. And you're going to be watching a final that leaves you, if it's Boston OKC, not feeling very good because they're decided by 20 and 30 points. And it's Shea getting 25 free throws. And it's who's going to make more threes, and everybody's going to complain about the league again. Yes, I've got the story right on what's about to happen here. Like maybe
the SGA stuff is, but that is something that the league can address.
But maybe a 4 or 5 sneaks in because Indiana.
But maybe Wemby beats SGA,
Dallas,
and all of a sudden it's Wemby getting coronated.
Right, but we'll follow the entirety of the story to the end, and it'll be about the merit of the basketball, and there may or may not be good stories in there that make us care. But Zaz isn't wrong when he says the way that we talk around this league now, not Tony diehards, and there are many, like the Twitterverse and Amin will buck on you at every point. This is majestic, athletic excellence we're watching at the limits of science, the people who are doing this well. But they are two math machines sort of buzzsawing toward each other. And, oh, look, OKC's defense is also good, so if they don't beat you with the threes, they'll also smother you.
It's just in a valley right now. And rather than just pour more dirt on it, I've poured my fair dirt on this grave, and I want to be optimistic about it. I am encouraged by some of the things that I see in terms of stars. I don't think there's going to be load management in the NBA playoffs. That's not a complaint I'll have. I'm excited to see these matchups, excited to see what these stars do with this incarnation of the NBA, and I'm almost resigned to the fact that we're at the point right now that the changes that need to be made with this sport are so painfully obvious that even Adam Silver will wake up and smell the coffee.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Got to see it to believe it. I think the part that bothers me the most, and I feel like I've talked about this before, where for me, and it's like this with all the sports, it's just as much about the journey as it is the destination. And okay, we're getting close to the destination with this NBA season, and it's going to be really good, the destination, but the journey has sucked. The journey sucks. Like, the journey has been the last 6 months, and it sucks. And to me, the sport isn't just about let's get to the championship round. It's about the entire season. And, the journey sucks right now in the NBA.
Well, but of course, there is damage to cheapening and devaluing a regular season, but also just the business of this. All of these things have to get to the 83rd game with all of these players healthy because we're testing their ligaments because the way they're being asked and fly and everything else. You saw how good the basketball was in the bubble. These bodies aren't meant for what we're presently doing to them, okay?
And I think it's an important thing, too. Like, we talk about tanking, we talk about the 65-game rule, and those are the two things that across the entire season we've been talking about. I think it's important to hammer home, just like we do in other aspects of life where we need to speak truth to power. We need Adam Silver to turn on the TV and see 65-game rule sucks. Tanking sucks. How do we fix this?
But do you guys understand how are we the show where Mike is howling, wake up and smell the coffee, fix the game before the playoffs when the playoffs are always the best. Like, how are we the show that's, like you just said,
how am I being positioned as the anti-NBA guy when I'm actively trying to not be?
I'm that guy.
No.
That's Zaz.
I don't mean to put you in the position. I'm saying when we're doing the show of how do we fix the sport when I'm about to tell you, no, these next 6 weeks fix the sport. Like that's what we do every year.
We're aligned there. Thumbs up. Double thumbs up. We want to see a good playoff.
Nobody cares about 65-game rules the moment the NBA playoffs tip off.
And if OKC runs through the playoff and SGA makes it to the free throw line 30 times because he does the bullshit, we all know what I'm talking about with the bullshit, then we'll have an off season of, all right, enough talking. Let's go ahead and fix this. And I hear you. Bodies aren't made for this. I mean, they've been playing this sport for decades. All right? The excuse as to why the bodies weren't made for this was the pace of play. So legislate slowing the game down. Bring back hand checking. Like, make it harder for people to go to the free throw line. Make it harder for there to be a three. Make the three-point line further away and the court's bigger. I don't know. Do something.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I don't want to rail against the three-point shot overtaking basketball because then I'm volunteering myself as what I am, the old fuddy-duddy. But the three has overtaken basketball. That's one problem. But everybody sees the NBA through the lens of their team, particularly if you're a fan. You're a fan. They love the NBA in Detroit and OKC right now. They got no complaints about basketball. They love it. But if you're a Heat fan, as an example, you're saying to yourself, we averaged 120 points. When was the last time a 120-point scoring team didn't make the playoffs? It's ridiculous. We're the second highest scoring team in the league, and we're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's all tempo, and it's sort of the way the game has shifted. Like, the science of this is interesting to me. I think I've proven that over time, boring you with how amazed I am by the evolution of that sport. I think people are tired of hearing me talk about, like, the thing that Steph Curry does. There's never been. What Jokic does, there's never been. What do you mean there's going to be a Wemby that's both of those things? Like, they've never existed on Earth, the human bodies that you presently see doing that in that sport. Nobody's ever watched something like Jokic happen before. It's never existed. That's what's at the center of the playoffs. And it's a 3 or a 4 seed because you got an all-time scorer in Houston trying to be the old guy, winning one punctuated thing so he doesn't soil the rest of his career. Hanging on for the old guard. You know already LeBron's gone. His team's not healthy enough. It physically broke under, like, not going to get to load management 82 healthy for the playoffs. They have no chance. They're broken. They couldn't make it to the finish line protecting their thing. The whole league storylines are going to come roaring back where you get the fight over, who gets to be next. And you guys are saying the bullshit on the MVP who wants Jokic's championships, and you're calling it the bullshit. Are we really going to reverse this where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's not going to be allowed to be Michael Jordan because we're going to say the white loaf of bread is the one who does it more fairly, more cleanly, the giant guy, not the guy who gets 24 free throws doing that bullshit?
Really quick, if I could talk about the loaf of bread, give me the start of the day music.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is here, start of the day.
According to ESPN Insights, with 3 games left, Nikola Jokic leads the league in both rebounds and assists per game. He's averaging a triple-double, had a triple-double last night in 3 quarters against the Memphis Grizzlies. No player in NBA history has ever led both categories, even across different seasons. So nobody has ever led the league in assists and then had another year where they led the league in rebounds.
Really?
Or led the league in rebounds and then came back and had another year where they led the league in assists. He's averaging a triple-double, leading all of those right now.
Big-time underdog to win the MVP.
Yeah. Chris, can you...
He's having the best season we've ever seen.
I know.
It was offensive to Nick Wright to mention him in the MVP race.
I told Nick Wright, I was like, how are you not going to mention Jokic when he's having a better season than he did any other of his 3 MVP seasons? Chris,
can you please get for me, please, the board Jokic imaging? Because I have a different stat here, and you tell me if it's better or worse than Tony's stat. But we could rename this the Jokic Daily Stat of the Day because It's an unprecedented player we're not properly appreciating. So I'm about to give you some numbers here. Give me the board Jokic music, please.
Here's a stat of the day from that big man, Nicola. Godlike skills put on display, but we're feeling so blasé, setting records all the time. We've become so indifferent. We're all bored, but what the hey? Jokic stat of the day.
So the Nuggets have won 10 straight games. It's the longest winning streak they've had since 2013, and it's the longest in the Jokic era. There have been over 1.4 million total 10-game spans by players in NBA history in playoffs. In none of them, I'm going to say it again, over 1.4 million total 10-game spans, including playoffs. In none of them did a player have as many points, rebounds, and assists as Jokic during the current 10-game winning streak. 252 points, 145 for rebounds, 127 assists. He's a better offensive player than Michael Jordan.
It's also his first 10-game winning streak in his career.
Will history agree with you 15 years from now when he's retired? I don't think.
No one will agree with me because he looks like a loaf of bread and isn't from
Right.
this country, and we want wing assassins who dunk on your head, and it can't look like that. It's not going to be allowed to look like that.
I mean, times change. It's hard for us to see that right now. But a lot of the Jordan versus LeBron people are going to die, Dan.
Jokic is invisible Michael Jordan. He is Michael Jordan every night because he plays in Denver and out west. Most people don't understand that he is an and by the way, no load management out there all the time unless he wrecks his knee.
You know, there were debates like this. There were a lot of people arguing Wilt. You know what happened, Dan? They died.
Yeah. Wilt versus Russell.
Thank
Rings,
you.
Rings versus stats.
The wheelhouse. The Greg Cody stirs to life, wanting to talk about basketball when they did it the American way. The fire starter.
Yeah.
It's a Wilt or Russell.
Before there was a three-point line. Come on, that was basketball. Give me a 91-87 game like the Heat and the Knicks in 1991, whatever that was. Come on now.
Look at that. The 50s.
Damn right.
Next up, TLS favorite Brad Williams.
Now, Dan, imagine what you just experienced being a 6-foot whatever man. Now put that in a 4-foot man as I'm trying to cross the street last night, looking at certain puddles going, this could be it. This could be where I go because the water was moving very fast. I forgot my floaties. I can't swim. I have a very large head that sinks. I have a very fat butt that floats. That's not good for swimming. I'm very nervous. Florida is not a good climate for me.
He instantly goes upside down.
I do. I turn into a fly girl in a club, just face down, ass up, like that's me. Instantly in a puddle. Here lies Brad, killed by puddle. That could happen.
Brad Williams makes me laugh all the time, but rarely as much as when he's greeting Mike Golick and they are doing that shoulder handshake, and Mike Golick has to get down and Brad Williams has to climb up. Why didn't you just go in for a straight handshake
Because
to say hello?
then I nut tap him. Because if I go straight handshake, there's the possibility. And by the way, how much Gojo, were you just holding back? You're like, if I go full shoulder into this guy, he may evaporate into Skittles.
I was more thinking on if I went to pull in, because we went the dap with the hug.
Yeah.
And so there's that pull in the middle, and I was like, are we going to airlift Brad right now? Is this going to end up being like a swinging situation?
Did you go football mentality, low man wins, I'm not going to let this guy beat me.
That is true. I thought about just getting all the way down.
You got down pretty low. I thought you were going to throw out your back.
I was Jason Kelsey tush push stat. I was trying to get down on all fours there. It was good.
And now I'm realizing that I missed my calling as an O lineman.
God, could you
Low
imagine?
man wins.
The Brad Williams led tush push, unstoppable.
Well, not only was it funny because visually that was funny, you were also interrupting a story of Brad Williams kicking a one-legged man out of his last show. That's the story that you interrupted.
I did. There is no love lost between people who share parking in the handicapped space. He was gone. Get out of my show, sir.
Now, did you know he was one-legged before you kicked him out?
I did not. I did not.
So when he gets up.
I was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and where all the one-legged people hang out. And the guy was talking way too much. And it's the worst kind of heckler to me. I will gladly take a heckler that yells out "F you" more than a guy that loves me but is just talking too loud and commenting on every joke and be like, "That's so true when you did that." Like, God damn it.
That's a great joke, Brad Williams.
Yeah,
it's a great joke.
You're killing it, Brad.
That's what I'm doing. It's like he's encouraging me, but it's like your mom clapping too loud in the stands. Like, "Mom, shut up! I can do this." And so I talked to him. He's like, "Hey, I paid good money to get in here," and I like, "Dude, you gotta shut up." And I finally had to kick him out. So he stands up and he does the walk. And when he walks, the pant leg goes up. And I see the shiny metal underneath. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, no. And I kind of, and then because I can't filter thoughts, I go, you have one leg, sir?
Oh, so you just decided to play with the cards up.
Let's go. And then he turns and goes, yep. And I was like, am I kicking out a soldier? Did you serve? And he goes, "Nah, car accident." And I'm like, okay, get out. Like, if it's a soldier, then yeah. But I actually kept talking to him, and then because I felt bad, I invited him back. And he sat down, and we proceeded with the show. But then it just kept going. He got his second chance to the point where now I see the faces of the people around him being uncomfortable, and I'm like, all right, well, now you. So I kicked him out again.
No,
I kicked him out again, and he gave me the whole like, well, do you know how much I paid for these tickets? And I go, an arm and a leg.
It's time for Vegas legend Carrot Top.
The man is a legend, and he's a legend in Vegas where it's hard to be a legend. I've seen him. His face is ID to get into all the big places. And he's also, though, he's a Florida guy as well, and I think he should be a Panther fan because he grew up in Boca. So I don't know where he is, but I believe he's bigger than Wayne Newton now. He's more Vegas than Wayne Newton, and I'm not joking when I say comedy legend for 40 bleeping years. 40 bleeping years and still doing it 4 times a night in Vegas. You, Carrot Top, Mr. Top, are rooting for who in this series?
You can't say 40 bleeping years. It just doesn't sound cool. You know, you gotta say 40 years. But it's gonna be really rough. This might be the hardest.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I probably should have mentioned that our friend Dusty May is going to rejoin us. I'm grateful for that. Wow. We don't really deserve it. The last time he was on with us.
Do I need to get into Waymo?
The last time he was on with us, Zaslow was disrespectful throughout the interview by driving to South Beach in a driverless car. Anyway, the head coach of the national champion Wolverines told us he'd come back on if they won. And so now he's going to come back on. David Sampson will be on with us a little bit later in the show. But Lamar Jackson, which is where I should have ended up earlier if I'd been thinking straightly. Lamar Jackson has shown up at camp, and I think something interesting has happened in Baltimore. It's been one of the most stable franchises there. They even ran Mike Tomlin off the road. Like, they're a wildly stable thing. And not quietly, the quarterback won a fight over the leadership of that team that has that being Lamar Jackson's MVP team. He got in negotiations with a league that was colluding against him with no agent
to be a wide receiver.
Nope. Well, after that, actually,
even during the QB
when he's an MVP of the league and is a free agent and no team needs him because everything is colluded, like the owners were not going to get into a bidding war for the MVP of the league and change their salary structure. That happened. What I'm saying here, Zaslow, somehow quietly. Lamar Jackson, okay, in the age of the diva quarterback and the diva wide receiver without an agent, Lamar Jackson now runs the Ravens. And he runs the Ravens when he cannot afford to lose a single step. The Ravens are now, like, structurally, they've been for a long time through their mafioso owner and Ozzie Newsome and everyone else for 25 years, whistling through his teeth. For 30 years, the Ravens have been like right there with the Patriots and the best of the best through a whole assortment of quarterbacks. They're the best organization, and now it's Lamar Jackson's. It belongs to him. They ran off a Harbaugh, golden royalty in the sport. And now, after we saw a year, Bill Polian yelling at the beginning of that, that's not a quarterback, not in our league. That's a wide receiver. Now he loses a little bit of skill. How much skill? He's still got great passing skill. But what people are worried about are the this much that made him better athletically when you can't be that at 29 in that sport. Like, if you're getting used to LeBron playing at 41, not in that sport, not with what they do to their bodies. Like, Lamar Jackson has ground through his ligaments too, playing the way that he plays. And if he loses a step, what does it mean that the Ravens are playing in a margin of, if Lamar loses a step, we're no longer a great organization?
You would think him showing up to the first day of OTAs wouldn't be news, but it is news because Lamar Jackson hasn't shown up to the first day of OTAs consistently throughout his time in Baltimore.
And it's a new coach.
It's a new coach, and it's also a sign that I think Lamar understands how important this season is for him, because the John Harbaugh excuse is gone. If you talk to people in the know like I have, problem there was John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson not exactly being on the same page. John Harbaugh trying to hold Lamar Jackson a little bit more accountable. Lamar Jackson not exactly being a fan of that. Lamar Jackson has been given some liberties that you see around the league with certain stars, but liberties that are special for the Baltimore Ravens. Now he is at a point where we got rid of John Harbaugh. We have a new coach. You are still our quarterback. We're trying to seize on this window, but you got zero guaranteed money coming to you after 2027. They can get rid of you at any time, and this is a quarterback that's 29 years old, a quarterback like we've never seen in this league before, with physical traits that have ascended him to the heights of multiple-time MVP. But if he loses just a little bit of a step, and there are signs of that,
Are there signs of a little bit of a lost step?
I am afraid he's about to lose a step. Ooh. And by conceding that, gentlemen, I think he might have lost a half step.
Wow. Oh. But when you're 6 steps ahead, losing a half a step.
He wasn't 6 steps ahead. He was like 2.5 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
How many steps equal like a win? Like if he
loses a step,
2 halves is 1.
Zaz, I think we're in agreement mathematically without any of the advanced metrics that if Lamar Jackson loses a step, the Ravens are doomed.
Here's what you're not considering. Losing a half step around Myles Garrett and TJ Watt might result in death.
Wow. So we're not even talking games here. We're talking a half step can be end of life.
It could be.
What if you lose a half a step but you're hungrier?
So I don't doubt his hunger.
So he's like hungrier, it balances out. His hunger level's gone up, but his step has gone down a half.
I don't know about that.
There are plenty of dudes that when they approach that, okay, doubt my physical traits, I'm going to work out harder, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life, and then the way they play the game catches up to them.
Can we talk though for just a second in the analysis of what it takes to be MVP of that league, that physical a league, okay, in your prime and whatever the prime is? Because I assume we all think that Josh Allen is going to be the MVP for a while or in the conversation because his body type is going to hold up or has held up against almost everything, even though he too plays hurt 1,000 different ways. A quarterback who was questioned at the very beginning, could this play in this league as a quarterback, by the 6-time executive of the year? And the answer from that 6-time executive of the year was no, you don't draft him as a quarterback. That guy runs through his body, and at 29, when you say, just be more athletic than everyone else, the answer is no. It's going to have to be from the pocket. Like, you saw that last year. However injured he already is, I don't know if that's him or him trying to play hurt, but last year, that wasn't Lamar Jackson. No. That was not an MVP of the league. That's not someone who's a threat on both corners to run 40 yards. That's somebody who's going to have to win from the pocket.
No, you'd be surprised, but the advanced passing measurements actually really love Lamar Jackson, but we've seen it with guys like Aaron Rodgers, and he was older, but when you lose a step.
10 years older, though, Mike.
Yeah, I know, but when you lose a step in that league, things unravel. We've seen it with Russell Wilson at a younger age than we've come to expect. We've seen it with Cam Newton. This is a concern that I have with Josh Allen. I do think it's safe to say, like, when your physical skills diminish even a little bit, when you're that far ahead of the rest of the pack, what does that look like?
It's happened fairly suddenly because 2 years ago in 2023, he's the MVP. In 2024, he throws 41 touchdown passes. Fantastic season. Could have been the MVP again. Looked like he had gained a step.
What?
It looked like he gained a
He's
step.
right. No, he's right. He's right. He's right.
No.
Yes.
He's right. Greg's
It looked
right.
like in 23 and 24, Lamar Jackson
He gained a
step.
I've never heard of gaining
and
of a
what
step.
that
He was the
means
MVP, and then he gained
That
a
was
step.
3 years
Yes.
ago.
But what that means is he's actually lost a step and a half because he lost what he had gained.
No.
Hold on.
And
So
has
you're
taken
saying
a net
you're
loss.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
He's
back
con-
to where he was.
He's confirming what Mike
1
is
step
saying.
forward,
He
half
is
step
no, Mike. He agrees with you. He gained a step, but he lost a step and a half. Therefore, he's lost half a step.
Right.
Wow.
The net loss is half a step, bordering on 2/3 of a step.
Yeah, that's where I land.
Do we do 2/3 of a
I
step?
think he's
you
lost
can.
the step. I think, guys, we know this. You guys think last year was an injury year, or it's the beginning of what his future is going to look like?
Injury year. He was just off, like Greg said, where he should have won the MVP, where he threw 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, and ran for almost 1,000 yards.
Okay, but the injury year matters. Just like the injury year that happened before that matters.
He had COVID 7 times.
That's another part of this. And he's like the only NFL star that we've ever had to worry about load management with because he had his contract in which, the league colluded against him. Lamar Jackson, throughout his entire career, has proven people wrong repeatedly. And I think this year there is more skepticism on him than ever because a lot of the excuses are out. This is the very tail end, I think, of what this Ravens window is with Lamar Jackson being a superhuman at the position. So I'm curious to see how it plays out.
No, nobody's a fan of L-Jack like me. He's been a Greg Zlobo stalwart for years. I've drafted him a lot in fantasy.
Do you think that name's going to catch on, L-Jack?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. But I'll tell you this.
He's been on the podcast.
He was a fantasy nightmare last season. Not just mediocre, a nightmare.
That's important analysis.
He was a fantasy nightmare.
I'm listening.
That's a microcosm for where his career is headed.
You expect giant stats from him, and when you don't get giant stats, the fantasy head is wrong. That is excellent analysis.
Okay, we're all dancing around what's obvious with Lamar Jackson.
Dancing swords.
Okay, we're all dancing around the fact that right now he's the great 2-time MVP who has been a career disappointment.
Okay.
He's never won. He's
All
never
right.
led his team
All
to
right.
a Super Bowl. He's 3-5
Okay.
in the playoffs.
That's harsh, dude.
The pressure
Career
is
disappointment.
the pressure is on Lamar Jackson to prove it in the postseason.
Yes.
Just like it is on Josh Allen. There's no
Yes.
difference.
Yes, I agree with that. But a dude that was being projected as a wide receiver by Hall of Fame executives, I don't think that's a disappointment by any measure.
So no, let's this is great for a number of different reasons, okay? But Greg Cody saying, okay, that the big unspoken elephant in the room is that Lamar Jackson, multiple-time MVP, who was never supposed to be a quarterback in the league, is a disappointment, is something you guys want to seize on. But we're not going to seize on Mike just shrugging his shoulders and saying, and the league colluded against him. Like, as a matter of fact, he was the MVP of the league. Everyone needed a quarterback. Nobody bid on him. Why does no one object to that?
That's strange.
Like,
Well, Pablo did.
But why is this? Why is he, like, the absurdity of saying is fact. Yeah, the league colluded there. The league colluded to keep costs down by not giving an MVP quarterback at the end of his career what they would have given him if everybody was fighting over the money.
Yeah, but collusion was involved with Colin Kaepernick as well. The reason it's not a bigger deal is that collusion can't be proved and is never admitted.
But my point to you is that one conversation merits serious argument, and it's not whether or not Lamar Jackson's career is as a disappointment when all he did was threaten the league's salary structure, and then the owners just shrugged and said, yeah, we're not going to pay you like that.
I think it's because we all know that it's true and there's nothing we can do about it.
Josh Allen benefited from this until they lost to the Broncos. Lamar Jackson benefited from this until last year, where guys like Nick Wright and big-time voices in the sport are like, hey, you're not doing jack in the playoffs, L-Jack. And he is now at that point where he not only has to do that, but also answer some questions that the franchise may have about him because they have removed every excuse.
Well, but Chris, can you get me? I want to coax Mike out here because he's an insider, pretending and hiding in the outsider's world. But he said something during some of what sounded like his reporting around Lamar Jackson that felt like.
Oh my God, he knows. He happens to know. Come, everyone. Come and listen. Happens to know. He happens to know. Well informed.
As you heard him just say casually, because there must be details here, Lamar Jackson has privileges with the Ravens that other Ravens do not have. You said it as a matter of fact. I've not seen that reported anywhere.
No, because I value my sources, and there's multiple on this front.
What's the point in a source if you're not going to give the information?
Well, because I did give the information.
No,
you want to hear specifics, and I'm saying I'm not going to give you specifics because I value my relationships, which is why I'm able to tell you with full confidence that Lamar Jackson has certain star privileges that are different. And
Good. That's good work, Zaz. Good work by you. And
that's how you follow up in journalism, Greg.
Well,
is that right?
I want to. This is what I want to corner Mike on at least a little bit, okay? Because you didn't file it as a happens to know. I coaxed out a happens to know because it's so wise. It sounded like you were giving us information that I haven't heard reported elsewhere. And Zaz is not wrong to ask: is there any more information there that you'd like to share, or can I just throw the hypothetical at you of yes, of course, star player stays apart from his teammates and lives a different life in some sorts of ways because that was the Barry Bonds diva deal. He got a better hotel suite on the road.
Didn't we learn that about Jimmy too?
And a lot of people, like a lot of stars. Do we want to ask any follow-up questions here?
Look at the sandbox that you're playing in. You guys are doing great. No, I'm good saying what I said. And John Harbaugh took issue with some of these liberties that were afforded to Lamar Jackson and have been, by the way, and Lamar Jackson has excelled. And I don't think Lamar Jackson is alone in the league in getting some of these privileges. He was kind of alone with that franchise in getting some of these privileges. Some of that stuff makes people uncomfortable. And when you're not as available or as excellent, or you're not having the results that you've come to expect, things like what happened in Baltimore happen. Remember, it's not just the first time John Harbaugh and the Ravens were at a crossroads. It was announced John Harbaugh was leaving that franchise. Lamar Jackson got installed as the quarterback. Lamar Jackson saves John Harbaugh's bacon, to which he was bought in on some of this. But you get some diminishing returns. People start resenting some of those star privileges. Lamar Jackson won that power struggle at an age, with a skill set, with a guy that's not as readily available as you maybe want him to be. He won the power struggle against a head coach that won a Super Bowl with that franchise. Excuses are gone now. He's got no guaranteed money after 2027. Let's see how this plays out as he's 29 years old.
So listen to what he's saying there, though, on the contract details on basically what he's saying. Lamar Jackson is in a contract year. He's at the end of what would be his physical prime. At any other time in human expense of the body that football does over 10 years, where you're like, yeah, if you're going to play like that, you're probably not going to play like that till you're 41 or 45. Brady can play like that. But if you're going to play like that, we're buzzsawing through running backs 3 and 5 years. We're going to get Lamar Jackson's best in this window. He's in a contract year against the entirety of the machine. Like, this guy has fought. Do you realize that if Lamar Jackson says, damn right, privileges, I was the MVP of the league in the bigger sport than basketball. If basketball stars are going to have this power, I don't even need an agent to exert mine. Give me my money, and I'll do some appearances, and I'm a star. And I'm a star in the modern age because I'm the MVP of the league that America's culture values the most. So, of course, he'd arrive at the position. Value me in a way that would feel undervalued, and then the owners choke him out.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I think something that you said there is interesting that I kind of forgot. Part of the collusion, you could, as subtext, you could theorize part of the collusion was the establishment didn't like how unorthodox Lamar Jackson chose to represent himself. Remember, he did load management in a sport where that is not a thing that's associated with it.
Can I ask you guys, though, just the mindset of whatever you imagine somebody in their early 20s who's best in the world at not just athletics, but the corner of entertainment and culture, too. Oh, you're an authentic quarterback, kind of different, much different than all the others. Your constituency might not be what everyone else's constituency is in the age of the Manning cast. Lamar Jackson, unquestioned superstar in that league on merit, earned with arm and legs. Huge star in the league, one of 5 guys, polarized conversation wherever you have it. Of course, Lamar Jackson would come by the opinion, I'll practice when I wish. I'll show up to OTAs when I wish. I'm the star of this team. I grew up in LeBron's age, and I'm the best quarterback. I'm going to behave like Burrow. I know I'm the best. I'm the MVP of the league. And then the owners collude, and we skip past that part. Like, it's a fairly amazing thing to skip past. Wouldn't you agree? Dusty May is with us. I have taken up too much of his time. I didn't know why Chris Cody was waving at me, and then I remembered, we've got a champion in our midst again. He must think we're a sloppy organization. Dusty, thank you for joining us. What do you remember of your last time with us? I was afraid you wouldn't keep your promise and come back because Zaslow was distracting the last time you were on with us. And Greg Cody was singing Foul Out on the Prowl.
Foul Out on the Prowl. Congratulations for the championship.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I just remember the Waymo. The self-driving car.
Well, I'm back.
That was the episode.
Yes, he got back okay, Coach.
You're live.
Congratulations. Has your life changed the last couple of days?
I don't know. We've kind of been hunkered down. It's portal season, and we have a couple guys going through the draft process. So there's a lot going on. Hopefully we get our roster done, and then we can take a deep breath and enjoy it a little bit.
That seems not right. It seems like you should be joyous and not have to get immediately right back to work.
Delayed gratification, Dan.
Okay, so really you're already, so now is the time to capitalize is the point, right? You're at the height of the business. You can't let your foot off the gas. This is the best time to keep building.
Yeah, this next week or two is the sweet spot. This will determine if we have enough to play in Detroit in the Final Four next year. This window gives us an opportunity to put together another really, really good team. So we've got to fundraise, we've got to connect with the right people and keep the guys in our program that are here, and then add a little bit to that mix.
Coach, I know players like Lendenborg is going to wind up going to the NBA draft, but are you finding yourself having to recruit back your own players?
Not necessarily. The ones that are in the NBA, we just have to be patient while they go through their process. But the other returners have all, like myself, said that they 100% wanted to come back. And so now it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But no, there hasn't been a long recruitment process with our current players. They've been committed to doing it the way we did it last year. And so we have great competition and some young guys coming in. So, but no, we haven't spent much time re-recruiting our old guys. And to be honest, if they want something else, then we'll have a conversation, but it's not like we're going to try to convince them or trick them to come back. We're going to paint a very clear picture of what this looks like. But it's tough now because the tension and every time you get one player, everyone on your roster feels like that might affect them. And so if you have more than one guy on your roster, then you're facing the scrutiny from everyone.
Dusty, you've gotten right back to business in a way that frightens me. And so the thing that I would love to understand is where the joy in all of this was in terms of reaching your dreams and surpassing them, I would imagine, in some way. Like, I can't even imagine what your last 4 days are like. And the idea that you would have to immerse yourself right back into running the business of it makes it feel like it has less joy around it than it seems like it should from over here.
Yeah, fortunately for me, that's kind of how I'm wired anyway. That moment on the stage is very touching, but the joy is every day in practice. It's how these guys interact with each other, the relationships they're building, the moments with our staff. And then the final prize is just kind of a culmination of all that. But I'll be honest, I was listening to a podcast on the way in this morning, and after the championship, one of our players, he literally was crying during the interview, and that's the closest I've came to breaking down in tears and really enjoying the moment. I didn't quite get there, but I was close. I think someone started honking at me on a red light, so it kept me from it. But
so you almost had a human emotion, but you were able to push it down. And if someone had honked, it would have squirted out of you, but you were able to just push it down like a real man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. They're going to flow. I just don't know when or where, but I do know once we have our roster set for next year, then my feelings,
with the roster,
then I'm going to enjoy it.
The reason the feet get kicked up.
Yes, no, that's not going to happen. He's got to be a robot animal because he's competing against all the other robot animals, and there's no time to slow down. I have found you honest and charming, and so maybe you can settle discussion we've been having here more honestly and more informed the last couple of days. Michael Malone goes to North Carolina, and I'm saying to myself, perhaps ignorantly, what does he know about the skill set required the day he walks through the door? What he's been doing has nothing to do with the job he has today, and I don't think, he may get qualified at that job, but that's not the job he's been doing because it's a totally different job. Can you walk us through this thicket without disparaging Michael Malone? When I question this hire, because I'm like, his expertise might have been great, but it's not what Dusty May has to do. X's and O's is almost in some ways the least important part of what Dusty May has to do because he's got to run the entirety of a business.
Yeah, Dan, I've tried to actually put we as a staff have put some time trying to think about why we were able to do what we did, because we just put our head down, pour into these guys every single day. And what we've learned is that it's the connection throughout the program and the trust. And so I don't know Coach Malone, obviously being an NBA champion, I would assume that if he can develop trust in his organization with this team, they're going to acquire good players. Everyone at our level has really good players. Some have exceptional players, and this year we did as well. But if he can get everyone in that organization moving in the same direction and bought into the same goal and mission, and they trust him and he trusts them, then he'll be successful. So when people ask me, is this a good hire? There have been several times a guy was hired and I said, man, that's a great hire. And then that guy flopped. And then there have been other times where I said, man, I don't know how that's going to work. And the guy is one of the best coaches in our game. So it's tough to predict. It's a crapshoot, but I would have to spend time with him as a human to guess if it's going to be successful or ultra successful there for him.
Coach, since you won on Monday night, can you tell us about some interactions you've had with some of the former great players at Michigan, like specifically the Fab Five, who, of course, were in attendance?
Yeah, I've been texting with those guys and communicating with them. I actually spoke with Jalen for a while yesterday. C-Webb, Jimmy, all of them, and obviously Juwan and I have developed a strong relationship as he was the first call I made, actually the second call after taking the Michigan job, because I wanted background information on the players and things like that. So those guys have been unbelievable. We've got to do more to honor them. We're trying as a staff to get them even back and more connected. They're iconic. They're synonymous with Michigan basketball, and man, we have a lot of respect for those guys and admiration. So yeah, we've communicated with them regularly since we got the job.
How old were you when the Fab Five were introduced to your life? Like what you were when you were watching the Fab Five play? How old were you?
I take a stab probably 14 or 15, and the only reason I know that is because one year in AAU basketball, our team in Bloomington, Indiana, modeled our uniforms after the Fab Fives. And we were under the Bloomington red umbrella, and we actually became Bloomington blue for a summer and had maize and blue uniforms with the capital B. And so that's the only reason I remember that.
Dusty, you took a team full of transfers, a team full of strangers, won a championship by developing such chemistry. When you look back to the summer and that event you had at your house and the pizza truck, what role did that play in bringing the team together and close-knit?
Pizza.
I think it's just all of those things wrapped up into one. I don't think it was one moment. I don't think it was one event. I think it was just our guys really believed that their best interests are the most important thing that we do. I mean, and the winning is a byproduct of us pouring into them, helping them be their best, and teaching them what winning is and what being a great human being is. And the winning just kind of happened. But and also, I think also, one important component is them seeing our staff as fathers, as husbands, as just normal people outside those lines. And then also just the players connecting with different guys on the team other than their roommates or other than the guys they lift weights with. So on a number of levels, we just try to do that as much as we possibly can because it's a process. We're all learning each other, but I do think trust was developed and earned in all those moments.
Dusty, I love pizza parties. How do you decide how many pizzas you're going to get? Like, is it like 3 slices per guy? How are we handling
Put it on
this?
the poll. Do you love a pizza party? Everybody loves
No, it's a pizza truck, and he pulls up, and everyone he throws out several
smart.
The
food
garlic
truck.
bread,
Yeah.
and then you can order whatever kind
Yeah.
of pizza you want.
Well, but Dusty, I appreciate Dusty's no bullshit, but he's also really gentle because he just told you, really, Greg, you think we're champions because I had a pizza party?
Yes.
Is that what?
It had to help.
He just said there were many such events, and it wasn't the one pizza party. He was very delicate about how he did that with
That was
you.
the fire starter, the pizza
that was,
party.
It is. You're right. You're right. It was. You
That's
know what?
it.
I stand corrected. It was the fire
Thank
starter. You said the last time that you were on with us that you didn't expect it to happen this fast. I don't know what you would have. Take us back right before you're going on that run at FAU. The best of your dreams ends where? Like you're already beyond your expectations. Are you not?
Dan, I played one class basketball in the state of Indiana at a small school, and we felt like if we won our sectional, then that was our pinnacle moment. And we never thought about winning the state championship. And I think a lot of the low and mid majors feel like if you make the NCAA tournament, you just accomplished a national championship or a Final Four. And so we just went on that climb. And then when we went to the Sweet 16, actually, Kyle Church on my staff said after the first round game, he said, we're going to be double-digit favorites to go to the Sweet 16. Say that out loud. And I said, I don't even want to talk about it. Let's just focus on the preparation. And then we made the Sweet 16, and our mindset was like, we just made the Sweet 16 at FAU. This is incredible. And at that point, we're like, why stop now? We obviously are really, really good and talented. And so this one felt a lot different than that one. We were just lost in the fight. This one, the first couple rounds, I felt a little bit I felt more pressure internally that we can't screw this up because of how much talent and the type of season we've had. And so both had a wide range of emotions, but they felt completely different.
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
It felt better, yes. And once again, like I know that I'm off. When that shot went in on San Diego State, the first thing I thought was we made several errors. Mental errors in the second half of that game.
Did you just ask him if winning the championship felt better than losing the championship?
No, felt better.
It seems obvious.
Did it feel better than losing felt bad?
That's not what you asked
missed
him,
that.
though.
I didn't say it like that?
No, Zaz, but
Oh,
it's good you got
man.
to the heart of it. He confirmed that winning is
Hey
better
guys,
than
we
losing.
run a very psychological, safe program, and you can make mistakes, and as long as you learn from them.
Did you understand what I was asking, though, Coach?
He's being gentle.
No. I tried to think of the nicest way to answer it. To be
Oh,
honest.
man.
Yeah, he thinks you're a sucker.
I was going to let Zaz slide on that.
Because that's a
okay.
stupid question otherwise.
You know about that winning being better than losing, pal?
Oh, man.
You just asked the man if winning
terrible.
felt better than losing.
No,
That's what
winning
that's
is
what
just
it
winning
is.
Winning the title
That's it.
feel better than not getting to the title game at all?
No,
Your
that's not what I
thoughts.
meant. Did winning
It
feel
did
better
feel
than
better, though. The
losing
answer
felt
was
bad?
yes.
Oh, man. I blew it.
Oh my God!
Hey guys, I would like to plug the Paramount Plus docuseries Made in March. It's followed us in Kansas throughout the year, and we haven't seen the final episode
Oh,
yet. so-
Jessica's, yes, her fiance Lehman did that documentary. Evidently, he was in all the crevices of your program. You gave him real access, and you're here. I fail when I do not mention for Dusty May as part of the promotion of what he does to continue to build his business, that you've allowed real access to the story, to the insides of your business, to for people to see what it takes to build a championship business.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit naive to this, and so the first 3 episodes, the reviews we've gotten was it's actually real. It's how we are behind the scenes, and so it's gotten great reviews so far. The last episode, I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen it yet. The 4th and final episode that goes all the way through, but for me personally, it feels like almost like a scrapbook where you forget all these moments because you're just getting to the next thing. So it's been pretty cool to follow. And Lee and those guys with the religion of sport, they're as good as it gets. And so, as I went on here, I think it'll be great for our program because we really pulled the curtain back.
Zaslow is still reeling. I am so sorry.
Stupid question.
Yeah, Zaslow
really
is hurting here. Dusty, I want you to settle something for us here. We've been talking about for a couple of days. If you buy an $18.50 beer at concessions, are you obligated to tip?
I think you get guilted into it.
Are you not a strong man of your own convictions?
No, I do the tip. I go $1. $1 is my no tip.
Okay, so that's as low as you'll go. Dusty. But for handing you a can of beer that's overpriced at least 18 times overpriced, you also just feel guilted into an extra $1. That's the right ethical thing to be as a human being.
I was actually, one of my many jobs growing up, Dan, was a server. And so I have a lot of empathy for those guys if they're making the $2 an hour like I used to, other than tips.
Societal norms, Dano.
Who is the best team you faced this year?
UConn and Arizona both were exceptional. They're in their own way. And I hate to say Arizona because obviously we played really well. But going into that game, I thought we were looking at ourselves in the mirror. And then UConn, because of their style of play and toughness, they were as much of a challenge as anyone. They're just so physical.
But you lost to Duke. You lost to Duke. It's one of the few times you did lose. You had the best regular season in the history of the conference. So
yeah.
So Duke is not in that conversation?
I think there's 4 or 5 teams that were all about the same, and it just comes down to matchups, timing. Duke was one of those teams. We didn't play that well against Duke, but I think obviously Cam Boozer's exceptional and some of those other guys, but I thought Arizona was deeper. They were like us where they went 8 or 9 deep of real dudes all the way down. And then UConn, just with their winning pedigree and the experience they have with Caravan being a guy that's played the national championship game 3 times. They were tough to play against.
Coach, I'm curious in basketball how you guys coach violence, because we all know playing in the stadiums, as that sport has for several decades now, you even went to the big house to try to handle the depth perception. Final Four, national championship games, they're usually pretty ugly, but inside I haven't seen that much violence. It was impossible to get a bucket because several arms were in the air, hips were going against hips. How do you coach that?
Long arms, big people.
And is it something that you learn on the fly? Like, I knew this was going to be ugly, but that's Dan Hurley over there. How do we get legally ugly in this sport?
Well, there are ways that we teach fouling without getting called for a foul, even with hand checking. A lot of coaches, especially in our league, are great at teaching what we call the hot stove, where you just stick them and then show your hands, and you almost see the officials start to blow the whistle. And then as soon as you show their hands, they don't really want to stop play. So there's a lot of little tricks and nuance that goes into it. But last year we didn't handle the physicality well enough, and we got beaten in the Sweet 16. And this year we went and got guys that looked like Merez Johnson and Yaxel Lindbergh and Guy Mara and threw those guys out there into the warfare.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's good. That's good evolution.
Tony's trying out back here.
Coach figured it out, though. He's got it right. Tony watched the game.
You got a short elbow on him, Coach. Right? You hit him with. Hey, what happened?
That's a real good answer.
Yes, it's the hot. What is it called? The hot stove.
Hot stove.
You hit him with the hot stove.
Hit him with the hot stove.
MLB free agency.
Dusty, thank you.
Actually, the Heat made this one famous: punching guys with your chest. Punch these guys with your chest as you show your hands.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they did. What do we have here? Thank you, Dusty. I appreciate the time. Thank you for being on with us, and congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
I'm really sorry, Coach.
I can't believe this. I can't wait to get back to it. Dusty can stay here if he wants to relive it with us. An unbelievably bad question from Zaslow, an all-timer. I came into today's show asking what has been the best sound from the week. It's just Thursday. And we have some all-timers this week, but are we going to do better than this?
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
We looked at each other. We're like, man, that was a stupid question. Stupid question. You are a stupid man asking that.
Sucker in front of the coach.
A stupid man asked this question.
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
I almost jumped in and answered for Dusty May. Yes, it did.
That's not a good question.
Well, Zaz, since we're already here, I might as well let everyone know. I don't think he'll dispute it because he tends to sink into his mistakes. He called for the ball. I wanted to go, and he's like, "No, I got something good. I got whatever you got. I got something."
So you had him his ass in the post with a hand up, saying, "Give me the ball."
Am I misrepresenting Zaz? Zaz was saying, "I had the ball. I had the ball in the post, and I know what I want to ask." And Zaz is like, "No, Dan, give me the ball. I deserve the ball." Am I misrepresenting anything here?
Yeah, I thought I had a good question with different words.
You know, you took me off the hook, right?
Did he?
Yeah, for sure.
Did he? All right. Well, we have to do that.
Luke Thomas
next
or Dusty May? Come on, what are we doing?
Let's ask. We'll do it with David Sampson next. Get all the sounds together, and we'll let him judge which is the worst or the best of these.
Letterman with a sandwich for laughs.
So honestly thrilled to be doing this with you because I have admired your work. You are just such a sculptor. You're an artist as a comedian. It's sort of the
Why, thank you.
Well, the craft of it. It's such a hard way to make a living, Jay. I don't even understand how you make a living that way. I really don't. You have to be demented to choose, you know what? I'm going to laugh my way to the top. I'm going to take the expectation of funny, and that's how I'm going to get rich. Get out of here. It's crazy.
It seems sort of second nature to me. You know, I think it's one of those things is if it's what you like to do, it just comes. You know, I remember when I was in college, I'm dyslexic, so I would get out of any sort of written things, and I was taking speech therapy. And I remember the professor said, now at the end of the class, each student will have to give a 20-minute talk. And people went, 20 minutes, oh my God, I get that. I thought, I'll do it right now. I'll talk for 20 minutes. Yeah, let's do this, you know. So it just struck me as funny.
But you could be funny in an instant? You knew that this was something?
No, not funny. I had to give a 20-minute talk. I mean, I didn't have routine. I wasn't a comedian yet, but it just seemed natural. I mean, I always read that getting eaten by a shark and public speaking are the two things most people are afraid, you know, that kind of stuff.
But not you, right? Like that, you didn't need attention, right? An audience just didn't scare you, right? Even though you were dyslexic, even though.
No, it didn't scare me. It didn't scare, you know what's interesting? A lot of people don't realize, you remember the Smothers Brothers, right?
Yes.
Well, Tommy Smothers was dyslexic and they were folk singers, but Tommy would get the songs wrong. Michael, boat the row is short. No, it's row the what? And they made it part of their act. And that's kind of how they became a sort of funny comedy singing team, you know?
How do you watch stand-up comics? Because I imagine you are watching not just to laugh, but to see where the comic's insecure, where the comic looks off stage or looks at his feet. I imagine.
No, not really. I watch it just to enjoy it. You know, I like comedy. I enjoy watching comedians. You have to be careful when you're a comedian because someone does a joke and then you realize you never want to be on stage and that subject comes up and your mind immediately goes to that person. So you have to be careful not to try and take somebody else's material. You know, that's sort of the biggest trick. A lot of times you don't want to watch comedians do routine on a particular subject Because if you're developing something along the same line, now you can't do yours because it's too close to theirs or whatever it might be. But no, I watch it. It's like I like to make love, but I don't want to be a gynecologist. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it just being, just being around it and being with comics. It's always fun.
You came up through the pipeline of where stand-up comedy was born, right? Like, I mean, you're almost at the roots, Jay. I mean, I don't know if it's Pryor and Carlin, but
David Sampson has been waiting patiently for us, as he always seems to be. Nothing Personal is the name of his podcast. He is always punctual. He never misses. He will continue to do his show like a buzzsaw, even if there are small insects in the room, and he will exterminate them with his hands in order to
Massive animal, Dan.
Stay on track. I have some sounds to play for you, David, and I from the week here, and I'd like you to decide what is the funniest of the sounds. And I think Zaz just topped it with what just happened with Dusty May. But give me your first nominee, Chris Cody. What kind of context does this sound require?
None. Just Tony being an idiot.
Crazy 3-time belt champion. And that's not that bad at all, actually, now that I think about it.
Okay, so
Next.
Yes, that's
and then my nominee. Just know, months down when this all comes, when the roosters come.
Well said.
Come on, let's get this.
Chickens
You're
come
on
home
There
to
it is.
The roosters.
Come home to roost.
When that happens.
It's a good one. Okay. Next.
Okay, yes. Hey.
He's taking this seriously.
Okay,
He's writing
all right,
stuff down.
all right.
We got Poppy singing during our live stream.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't want to be late for the
It's a leader in the clubhouse.
I don't want to be late for the game. It's not one of the lyrics.
And then, of course, Mike B.
Luol Dang.
That's not funny.
Okay.
It's haunting.
It's a classic, though. Goosebumps every time.
That is haunting. So what is the winner, according to David? We also, though, have a late arriving nominee here because Jonathan Zaslow, we just had Dusty May on. He just won the championship of college basketball, and this is what Zaz asked him.
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
What a great question. Wait a minute. Zaz, that is amazing because I assume what you were saying is the expectation was not there to get to the Final Four, and what an unbelievable journey just to get there. So does losing in the Final Four, you're still so happy.
No.
And when you win a championship with a team that already was supposed to win, that may not be as happy.
It's not at all what I was trying to say.
It's a great question.
I mean, thanks for trying to snuff it out, but that's not at all what I was trying to ask.
What happened? I need to understand. Take me through, please, a deconstruction of what happened. You waved me off.
I knew I had a good one.
You waved me off, and you asked him this.
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
I get it.
Do you?
Sometimes it's better to lose late with someone you expected to lose early than it is to win late.
That's not
with
what he
someone
was
you
asking.
expected.
You keep lawyering up for Zaz. That's not what happened. Your client doesn't want this defense.
And also, no, it's not, David.
Yes.
No, winning
Mike,
is better than
you
losing.
above
I feel
all know
strongly
that.
about that. I'm like a dog with a bone. Winning is better than losing.
How do you feel about losing in the championship game with the Hurricanes?
Awful.
Would you rather
One of the
not
worst
made
days
the
of my life. I would have
So you
preferred
would
to have won it.
preferred- No. Would you have preferred Notre Dame to be in there instead of you?
No, but I prefer
all I'm
winning
saying.
it.
It's not the question, Mike.
No,
Obviously,
no.
you
That's
prefer to
exactly
win.
the question.
No.
It was exactly the
question.
question.
There are many times that you outperform your expectations when you overshoot the goal. And that has to give you some satisfaction. Sometimes when you win, it's ho-hum, it's time to make the donuts. And there is a chance that Final Four with FAU was as good an experience for him, if not better, than winning. The guy told you on air, hey, I smiled at the stage, I did a little tear at the red light, but now I'm recruiting, trying to fill out dollar bill signs to see who my roster is, and then I'll figure out whether I had fun. You're right back on the hamster wheel, baby.
Having a magical season, surpassing expectations, defying the haters, and making it to the national championship game were all consolation prizes that made me feel a little bit better on one of the worst days of my life. There hasn't been a single championship where I've been like, well, this sucks. Because let me tell you something, that sucked losing to Indiana. Woo! I am forever changed with how much that sucked.
Was the Dusty May question better than this question?
The Packers win or the Bears lose?
I can't believe we're getting into a debate as to whether
That's just a stumble.
Is
Well, the
better than losing.
The best part of it, though, Mike, is that Sampson continues to lawyer up on behalf of a defense that Zaz does not want.
He already pled guilty.
It's better losing.
Zaz did not have any of that nuance, and I'd like to deconstruct for a moment what happened here because, again, I have the ball. I'm dribbling. Zaz's role on the show, he's a radio professional. He's very good at this, is I get in the driverless car and we're going to drive and I do hijinks. That's what I do. That's my role.
What he was trying to say, I think, was what felt better, making it to the Final Four with FAU or winning the championship. I know
That's not even what he's trying to say.
All right, so play it again, and we will get the deconstruction.
What are you trying to say?
I think I know what he's trying to say.
He can speak for himself, even though he can't speak for himself, and he can't be trusted to speak for himself because sometimes when he does, this happens.
Coach, did the winning feel better than losing in the Final Four with FAU?
Zaz, I think I know what you were trying to say. What you were trying to say was like the high of the win was better than the low of the loss.
Yeah. Did winning feel better than losing felt bad? That's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, but of course.
No, not of course.
A lot
of times the losing feels worse than the winning feels good. That's a good question.
Okay, like
Zaz, I'm going to help you here, Zaz.
That's a yes. What you feel, what is a stronger emotion, the pain of losing or the joys of winning? No, there's a good question in there somewhere.
Yeah,
That's not what
I
happened.
did a poor job conveying that.
I'm concerned that Zaz has lost a step.
David, before we get back to you, I have to get to this because this happened, and Zaslow, I'm not going to say he didn't whimper it during the break, okay? But we're all, this is a loving environment.
Dan, that's another Greg Cody first down.
It is a Greg Cody first down. I agree. But you guys will be amused by Greg left the room for a second. And Zaz and their rivals and nemesis, and Greg can look it down his nose at the journalist that Zaslow isn't. But immediately after, what I'm going to say is perhaps the worst career of Zaslow's, worst mistake of Zaslow's 20-year career
the champion
on air.
Coach.
What I saw next to me was Greg Cody in the middle of that immediately point at Zaz and burst out laughing the way your worst enemies would at the time of your greatest failure.
Points and laughs.
Pointed and laughed and then left the room for Zaz to stew in the worst mistake of his career when Zaz doesn't want to be an idiot in front of the championship coach.
My two interactions with Dusty May, I'm in a Waymo and I'm asking a question nobody understands. Greg Cody's pointing and laughing at me.
Don't take it personally.
Zaz, he forgot about it already.
No,
You're okay.
but a colleague, Sampson, you have no shortage of experience with people in the workplace not liking you, rooting for your rooting for your failure. No, rooting for your failure. Do I have that wrong?
Make no mistake. Everybody's rooting for everyone's failure in every atmosphere.
Okay, that's not.
Wow, that's harsh.
That's not.
That might be
either.
true when I'm karate chopping Chris's neck and when he messes up.
What a sentence.
Forgive me, because Chris Cody I made a mistake there. Chris Cody just pointed out, in his previous incarnation, I think David Daly was running into people who did not like him for whatever the reasons are at work. Do I have that wrong?
I think you'd have to speak to people who worked for me. I think that, in fact, we had a good front office. I think we had a ton of people. I think you're talking about people who didn't know me. Now that continues to happen, except much less now because people just love you so much. And the glow of Le Batard and nothing personal in the show that you've stood up, people somehow want to talk about that more than the old stuff.
That's sarcasm.
You can't be my inside voice, Mike. I have not earned that, and you don't know me well enough. We have not been doing this.
That's the way that one landed. Time for self-reflection. Ooh, maybe we should make him a villain again. That's a good go-to.
David, your thoughts on early baseball storylines from the first 10 days of the season that merit conversation or interest?
I'd like to talk about young players. I'd like to talk about the value and the way fans are all into free agency and all focused on who's going to get who. And now what you're seeing is a lot of players that you may not have heard of, and they are draft picks, they are developed, and they are helping teams all over the place. And it is a young man's game, and we've said that many times in the NBA and with the NFL, and in baseball there are waves of really good young players, and it's easy early to say there is a new wave that's even better than any of the old waves. The difference now is that the new waves are getting paid. The old good waves had to earn it each year to keep the wave going. These guys have thrown away their surfboards. They don't need to ride any more waves because they've got guaranteed, whether it's Connor Griffin getting $140 million or the Brewers are giving, $90 million to Churio. It's just flowing in a way that I did an analysis on this morning's Nothing Personal on the amount of money that's wasted by teams in order to get the PR hit of we signed a guy. And that is the biggest storyline of early in the season.
Yeah, we hate it when players get money.
No, that is not right,
Yes,
Mike.
we do.
Okay, inside voice with no information. I want players to get paid who earn the money. It's fine, Mike. You and your inside. Oh, I got a new toy. Let's do an inside voice. And by the way, why is it so squeaky?
Because it's our voice.
You sound like Elmo.
What does your inner monologue have wrong here, David?
I love paying people for performance. That's it. I don't like throwing away money that is not for performance. And what the Pirates did is they assumed that Connor Griffin will be at top of the R class.
Of course, but
and
David,
he may not be.
Chops our ass.
Did you say chaps my ass?
Yes, he said it chaps my ass.
Nothing chaps.
No, but
I don't use that expression.
yeah,
I'm a New York Jew.
Okay. Oh, that's the thing I forgot that happened from our watch party that didn't replay.
He better be careful.
Chris Cody. I knew we'd forgotten something funny that happened at the watch party, and it was Chris Cody's accidental introduction of David Sampson.
It was so good. Dan, I have a story about that moment. It's possible that I have people in my life who are not Jewish. It's possible I have people in my life who are not baseball fans. It's possible that someone may have been watching the live stream and asked after the fact, I didn't know that what I've heard at a bar mitzvah is also played at a baseball game.
I didn't either. I don't know why we selected it as organ music for you. Chris Cody denied that he did that on purpose.
She assumed, Dan, that you guys are the experts.
No.
And so that she didn't have it wrong because you had it right. And that's the beauty of your platform is you can spew whatever crap you want based on nothing.
Listen
and people just believe it.
Listen to me, okay? I need to go back for a second here because I need a ruling from you on just workplace etiquette. Zaslow made the worst mistake of his career. I have video proof that his colleague and teammate, Greg Cody, please put that up now. Greg Cody saw Zaslow at the height of his misery, and Greg Cody, right there, you can see Greg Cody delighting in pointing at Zaslow, laughing right in his face.
Of course, with his
I
coffee.
would never do that.
That is a Leonardo DiCaprio meme. That enjoying someone's failure, that's a T-shirt right there. Enjoying Greg Cody at
Called
your
Schadenfreude.
at your worst mistake. Greg Cody was not only finding it funny, was radiant with delight because you had made such a terrible error.
David, would you ever do that if one of your colleagues, if somebody you worked with, they made a mistake, a very public mistake, would you point and laugh at them in the moment?
Have you ever been in a clubhouse?
Yeah.
And I would say, Dan, here's an issue you should have. You created an atmosphere where you want that to be the reaction. You want people to attack other people's mistakes because you find that moves the show.
Dan's fault.
But so it would not be Greg who would have a problem.
I'm the
it
fire
would be
starter.
you, Dan.
I'm the fire starter.
You create the culture. No, I'm not going to lay off because I'm not going to blame Greg for doing what he thinks his boss wants him to do.
Thank you,
Because
David.
you so badly want everyone to have no patience whenever there's a verbal tick or a mistake that you pounce on it and clip it and tape it and show it.
I'm going to put up Greg Cody again on the screen here. This is an unusual amount of delight. I don't know how I'm getting blamed. I don't know how I'm. How is it possible that this can be a reflection on me? I wasn't doing that when that happened to Zaz. Zaz doesn't have the recollection of me doing this in his face.
That's the whole plausible deniability. You create the atmosphere and then revel in the atmosphere that you created.
I create an atmosphere where a professional broadcaster of 20 years can ask a championship coach, does it feel better to win than to lose?
Yes. That's exactly the atmosphere that you create every day for 4 hours, sometimes 8.
Is it the worst mistake of your professional career?
I mean, one time on the Miami Heat broadcast, I did my intro, and I was, tonight Heat 7:30, bad news for, and right there I forgot who they were playing.
God,
like
I
a
need
long
that audio.
pause?
So it was just a long pause.
Can I text Tobin? Someone has this audio.
I'll break out into a cold sweat if you were able to get that
How'd
audio
you find
and play
it? Were you looking for papers? Were you ruffling? Did you not look up at the scoreboard?
Well, the problem was because in my script, I forgot to change the name at the heading, so I knew it was the team from last game. It's like, holy shit, that's not who we're playing tonight. And it was like at least a 5-second pause, which is obviously an eternity.
Bad news for whoever we're playing tonight.
Yeah, just say the other team.
Thanks, Greg.
Should have said opponent.
Yeah. You're not wrong by saying the other team.
That's a professional.
Thank you, David. He gets me.
Yep, that would have been better if he had thought to do that in the moment. Bad news for the other team. But that's not really his catchphrase. Like his catchphrase is to be bad news and then know the name of the team that they're playing because it's on the court in front of him because he's giving you access to the game that no one has.
Yeah, you got to think quick on your feet, Dan.
So, Zaz, do you still copy-paste? Is that still your thing after that mistake? Because that's a copy-paste mistake, obviously.
It's a copy-paste, yes. I don't remember, but I made sure that mistake did never happen again.
David,
well, you stopped the copy-paste then.
Maybe.
David Sampson, you get a $18.50 beer at a baseball game. What is the tip that you are giving the bartender?
$1.50. Just leave the 20.
Someone's going to agree with us.
No, it's just going to be me
Let's
and
just keep taking
Whittingham
hacks.
for handing you a beer. For handing you a beer.
I'm in and out. I want to hurry up and get back to whatever I'm doing or start drinking it. I don't want to wait for him to fumble in the roll of quarters to pick up the 2 quarters and licking his fingers while touching the quarters. I certainly don't want the dollar bill that was given by the last schmuck who was online. So I'm just dropping the 20, taking the beer and going.
We are a man of the people.
Yes, I'm trying to support servers, Mike. God, that inner voice
Stop
pisses me off.
talking to me. I just live in your head.
Whatever. That's the answer, Dan.
That's a good show. I'm just telling the both of you right now, David and his inner monologue, you arguing with Mike, you arguing on behalf of bosses and billionaires as he argues on behalf of labor as your inner voice. It's a good show.
You think I'd back up the paper? I'm way worse than what David says. You don't even want to know what's going on up in here.
I do, though, so badly. The business demon that sounds like David's inner monologue that makes the evil
I
machine.
sold half our brain to private equity. There is a Saudi sheik sitting right next to me.
That sounds like me in college on a website.
Now would be a great time for me to have an Arabic voice.
No.
No, it would not have been.
It would not.
I know, the headlines.
No, you guys don't deal with headlines very much.
We got his ass. Also, we didn't listen to the start of the show.
I heard it. Believe me, I heard it. Dan getting all angry.
Get him away from this topic. Ask him about movies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, ask him about Outkick.
Elvis documentary. Zendaya. Ooh, yeah, say Zendaya. Jersky. Robert Pattinson. Spoil the movie. Even though you know it's wrong to do, spoil it anyway, like we always do.
I was supposed to see the drama yesterday, Dan, and I spent the day with my daughter after doing shows, and I told her and her nurse a lie, and I'm admitting it now because I just didn't feel well. I was upset. It had been a long day, so I said that it was sold out. But there were so many seats that it was a joke, but I just wasn't in the mood because it's a whole thing to go to a theater and see the movie. And I've been feeling horribly guilty about it, and I've had horrible stomach aches. I was up at 3 a.m. thinking about it, like I didn't give her that opportunity because of my laziness. And it was going to be the drama on 86th Street and 3rd Avenue. It's funny you mentioned that, Mike. It's like you know that story.
Well, not much we can do with that.
Yes, there. You can tell me I'm not a bad person.
Possibly explore the deep, dark crevices of his depression, mine it for our audience, and ascend to new heights. Do it. You know you want to.
I do.
He's got it pretty bad.
It's Dan. Dan, I'm hanging on by a thread here, buddy.
Yes, we are. Thank God we shaved.
Because it hurt too much when she grabbed the beard. Okay, can we move on? We got 10 more subjects to talk about.
The drama that Jeremy was all excited about. I don't know the backstory here. You guys have been having a conversation that I've been excluded from on why it is that there's a plot twist in a...
It's an intense plot twist.
Yeah, I would have to direct people to the post-game show from yesterday where we spoiler alert the hell out of it, and we finally get into the discussion because this film is a conversation piece, and I know David mentioned that there were plenty of seats. This film has been a hit. It already made back its budget, and I think a film like this has staying power because this is going to be a film that leaves people talking. Because you could put yourself in this situation. It's a good conversation piece.
But I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that seems to be a problem.
And I don't know about your enthusiasm about it, nor why David would want to talk about it, or whether David would spoil it.
Well, David, do you know the twist?
I know there is a twist, but I was just saying that I have a stomach ache because of the guilt I feel about what happened yesterday. But yes, it is a movie that I have to see. And someone tried to spoil it, and I did not allow it, so I haven't read anything about it.
You would never guess the twist. It's pretty unimaginable.
All right, so you were on with us during the live stream, and you were lamenting an assortment of analytics that have come to the game. This isn't even one of the major ones, but I want to play for you sound of Mad Dog. He is mad because the Marlins catchers are just taking the calls on what pitches to have pitched from the dugout, so they're not calling their own game, and this has infuriated Mad Dog.
Where they let the pitching coach and the manager call every pitch. The catcher can never call it. Look at this. Every pitch, he's got to look over to see what the manager or the pitching coach wants to call for a starting pitcher. This is this weekend at Yankee Stadium. I mean, this is ridiculous. These are the Miami Marlins. They stink. They win 70 games. Every pitch, he's got to. How about let the catcher call the game? Let the catcher learn how to frame and figure out a ball game. Every pitch. And not only that, the Yankees walked 30 times. They had 30 base on balls.
What is this music?
That's the most in the history of the Yankees.
He's angry, Dan.
Why is this scored by the Dust Brothers?
Thanks to the manager, McCullough, and his pitching coach who doesn't let the catcher call the game. 30 walks. Let the young kid learn how to catch. Let him learn how to fake it, screw up a batter's timing, framing it back. Know when to throw a 3-1 curveball. I mean, I couldn't believe. Could you imagine Gary Carter, Yogi Berra, some of the great bench, Johnny Bench.
UFC intro ass music. That sounds like Fight Club when they're making soap.
Couple things. There are 3 teams who are doing that now, not just the Marlins. So I assume that you edited that part out, or he forgot to mention that. But there are 3 major league
You don't
teams.
assume that. You're assuming that he doesn't know that. Say what you mean.
I'm assuming that that was an anti-Miami, and I'm having PTSD over someone in the national screen doing something anti-Marlin when, in fact, it's not just the Marlins. And he didn't know what he's talking about. It's not the pitching coach or the manager. It's the assistant pitching coach who gives the signs. And on top of that, it's because of what the president of baseball operations wants. It has nothing to do with Clayton McCullough, the manager. So nothing about what he did was based in any accuracy. Now, we can debate the merits of whether or not we agree that what is happening today with live BP right out of the chute in spring training, with way more front office involvement with lineups and moves during the game, with calling the pitches from the dugout. We can debate whether that is good or bad for the development of a player, but what has been discovered is analytically, you will get a better result if you take pitch calling away from the catcher, and the study that's required to call a game away from the catcher and let him focus on receiving the ball and on hitting the ball. That's just analytics. I happen to like when catchers call a game, but I always blame pitchers when there's a mistake, not catchers or managers, because pitchers need ownership over what pitch they throw, and I don't like it when pitchers throw a pitch that gets hit for a home run and they say, listen, I didn't feel good about, the curveball there. Well, then don't throw it.
These objections that you might have, it's only going to be more and more scientific and more analytic over the next 5 years, right? These are good advancements. I'm going the shaving of all inefficiencies so that you're almost making some of these incredible athletes into predictable machines. Like, we're going to keep doing that until we distort the entirety of it, right?
Or until
It's
they're
happening
actually
now.
machines.
Yeah, it's happening now. When we're monitoring their sleep, their intake, it's why I enjoy when players do steroids and say, I didn't know what I put in my body. I had no idea that was a problem. They know everything that goes in their body because it's part of a plan, literally like a meal-by-meal, day-by-day plan of what they do. And telling a player that he's not ready to play today and we're not going to start you because you rolled over more than usual last night and you did not get the sleep that you normally get. There are all sorts of, look at what the Marlins do now, and it's just analytics. They're not playing their left-handed hitters who won them a game last night against left-handed pitchers. I've got a great objection against that. But that is the future. You can't fight City Hall. There are no more human beings making decisions, and either you're used to it and ready to deal with it or you're not.
David, during our live stream a couple nights ago, we were on the air when McCullough came in and took Sandy out in the 9th inning after giving up the one hit, and then he walked De La Cruz, although it looked like he was pitching around him. What did you make of him taking Sandy out in that moment? And then Sandy, after the game, saying he'd like to be part of the decision-making process there.
Well, your pitcher's never part of the decision-making process. That's number one. But number two, what Clayton did wrong is he went to the bullpen before he got to the mound. He raised his right hand as he was walking to the mound. What you're supposed to do is go to the mound and make it look like you're having a discussion, make the person feel like he's a part of the decision, and then after a discussion, then you put out your right hand and you call for the
Come on,
bullpen
that's
arm.
funny, right? That's funny, right? We're going to agree. That's weird, right? we're going to agree that the manager coming out to take the Cy Young winner and doing it on one side of the foul line instead of the others because he doesn't know the right time to do it so that he could do Sandy the courtesy of, we're going to discuss this before I just choose it for you, right? Like, that is such a rookie mistake as to be laughable in terms of the management of people.
I found it funny, and it caused Sandy to say after the game that he didn't like the decision. He respects it, but he wanted an opportunity to say why he wanted to stay in the game, and you're supposed to give your player that opportunity, which is why you teach the manager, the new managers, you don't put your right hand up when you're going out to get one of your stars. If it's some sort of 4A bullpen guy you don't care about, you can do it on the damn dugout steps, and I'm fine with it.
But that's funny. As an unwritten rule, what just happened there, he just deconstructed that Sandy controversy.
It's about respect.
Well, and it's respect that he deserves. He's better at what he does than anybody in the organization. Is it what they do?
Exactly. That's exactly my view of that whole thing. Could have been avoided if Clayton had gone to the bullpen correctly. And, live and learn. He will do that better next time. But they discussed before the game whether or not Sandy, at what number of pitches against what part of the lineup, will be allowed to go in the ninth inning, and what happens if there's 2 runners on. And so all of that, again, it's decided. And that's how Clayton stood up and went so quick. But you don't tell Sandy that in advance. So, ironically, the players themselves are not aware necessarily at all about all the decisions that are made pre-game.
We would have traded Sandy 4 years ago.
No, we would have signed him. We would have traded him at this deadline.
You gotta say that again. That's funny.
God, you're funny, man. One little new toy, one little budget buster, and all of a sudden Mike's gone gangbusters.
I'd fund the hell out
voices.
of that show an hour a day. I'd fund the hell out of that show. You arguing with your inner monologue about business and sports things, that is a great conversation.
We trade him for Mike Rabello.
David,
Oh, stop it. He was a total throw-in. I like Mike, but he was a total. We got 2 of the top 5 prospects in all of baseball. Just zip it.
Neither
it's
worked
enough
out.
of the. They neither worked out.
More
Sorry.
memories right here next to me. As much
That's
as
why
we
you
try
don't
to forget.
sign them to long-term
It's the
deals
worst trade of all
before they work
time.
out. You guys, it's unreal. It's unreal what you give oxygen to, and it's unreal what you don't.
Did you notice Mike's shirt? That was one of those free T-shirts we gave away.
I think that I would like Chris Cody to look in the public domain music and get me music as cool as Mad Dog Russo has for his opinions, because I will now entertain the opinion that Samson would wanting me to talk about whatever he said about Shitstain's organization. But I need the right music, and I need the help of Inner Monologue David and Inner Monologue Dan, so that anything that gets aggregated our way instead of anyone else's way. Because Samson's been wanting to talk about something here. Do you think I'm afraid of discussing something with you? Do you think that I have some fear about discussing some topic that Shitstain and his organization wrote about?
I think that when I send you possible things to talk about and you ignore it for multiple weeks in a row, there must be a reason, and I respect you and what you decide to talk about. But for you to talk about like what you did first hour, say, I got to talk about it. Okay. Whatever. Decide whatever you want to talk about. We follow your lead. You create the culture, and then you get upset when there's a stop or an error. It's totally fine. We know you, Dan, and we love you, and that's it.
So you're talking about like the article that was on the heels of Clinton Yates being let go, about like how all the agents of woke are gone from ESPN, and Skipper's mission to make ESPN a woke machine that is now gone, and they are now built in the image of Laura Rutledge and Pat McAfee. That article.
Well, yeah, but really the biggest part of that was all about Dan, that it was all the power of Dan at ESPN was really quite miraculous. And you could say that it was him combining with Skipper. You can say that it ended when Skipper left. But the fact is that Dan got to create an entire world, and ESPN and Disney decided that world doesn't work for whatever reason, and they cratered that world. And now people are still writing about it, and Dan wants to believe it's not the case, so he doesn't want to talk about it.
Bad faith people are writing about it as like some kind of victory. Like nobody likes talking about ESPN woke culture more than that enterprise that It's built on a hypocrisy. It's how dare these people infuse politics and their views into sports when that's the entire business plan of that operation. It's not a good faith discourse, and we are the living embodiment of how much little power Dan actually had in the end. The only power that we had was to not get fired, and that went away the second John left.
How much little power I am the fire starter. How much little power I have. Drink me in, breathe me in. I have the music behind me from the public domain as I fight Mad Dog in the modern age. Come get some, McAfee. You too, Rutledge.
That one was a weird one.
I'm the fire starter. Come see how little more power I have. I have so much little more power. I gave it to Asians and blacks.
Thanks, Ed.
Come fight, McAfee, on Trump's lawn, where the real combatants fight on behalf of freedom.
3-welt belt.
I have 3 belts and a man who says, wake up and smell the coffee, and another who says, you can't fight City Hall. Come get some, McAfee. I like my army.
If we had power, it would have been Stugotz
You're welcome,
jumping into
Dan.
the pond at Augusta instead of Bert Kreischer and Pat.
It would have been me shirtless if I just followed Skipper into the bay.
You've done it. You've done shirtless for ratings and for clicks.
I have.
You can't do that at Augusta.
No.
The Masters is going on right now. Tom Watson is out there.
Oh, he teed off. And Jack Nicklaus, that was tough to see. He always seemed so ageless. And I guess at 90 age, probably that makes sense that age would catch up with the man. But at 91, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that.
Put it on the poll. Are you surprised that age finally caught up to Jack Nicklaus at 91? What are you talking about?
No,
Mike?
did you see him? It was jarring. It was a bit jarring.
I saw it.
Yeah, I know he's 91, and Jack has always kind of been like an ageless wonder. It was really jarring.
Have you
seeing
seen
him
anybody
like that.
91 before?
I've seen somebody 90 before. It was Jack Nicklaus. He didn't look like that. So I guess 91's a tipping point.
Yeah.
I believe Mikey had surgery. I think he just had carpal tunnel surgery because I was jarred as well. But there's a story behind it, Mike. So at 92, I think he'll be better.
Isn't there? That can't be true. Isn't there video of Jack Nicklaus sending some sort of rocket into the crowd on the right side from like 2 or 3 years ago? But I was talking about Tom Watson.
Yeah, and I was just adding to the point. Yeah, Tom Watson. We didn't get to see the shot. But whenever I see Tom Watson, I think about those PTIs that you were filling in where Tom Watson gave you 3 glorious shows.
That was when I had so much less more power.
That's right.
Right.
I hate that you seized on that. Felt wrong saying it.
There is Greg Cody laughing at Zaslow, and I decided to invest in someone who asked the championship coach, does it feel better to win than to lose? He's still laughing at you, Zaz.